Welcome to It's Your Business, a program designed to highlight our local small businesses who participate in contracting and procurement opportunities at Houston Community College. I'm your host, Veronica Douglas. If you've tuned in before, welcome back. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Either way, we are really glad that you're joining us on today as we highlight our local small businesses and the great work that they do. If you haven't subscribed to our newsletter, please do so by visiting our website and clicking Let's Stay in Touch. Subscribing to our newsletter allows us to reach you in a uniformed manner and provide you with the information about the Small Business Development Program and our community partners. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Today, we are going to speak with Michele Bua with Bua's Bistro Market and Catering. Michele Bua established Bua's Bistro in 1990. A native Houstonian, Michele began her career in the hospitality industry with Uncle Mike's Italian Bakery, a family-owned business, as director of catering, and she also managed their commissary in Houston, Texas. Michele had previously held the catering director's position at Sugar Creek Country Club when she realized her true calling was in the kitchen as a chef. She has extensive knowledge in full-service events from 10 to 50,000 guests for corporate, social, weddings, graduation, HISD school district galas, or any type of event for on or off premises. Her amazing talents in top-notch events and personality preparing menus with the finest and freshest ingredients for clients have made her one of the most sought-after caterers in Houston. Her passion for exceptional client relation services for her can-do attitude is extremely important to Bua's Bistro. Michele is active in the Houston community by being involved in the West Houston Galleria Chamber of Commerce. So welcome, Michele. It's wonderful having you here with us today.
Thank you very much.
So tell us a little bit more about your background and yourself. What was, family life really like with the Buas?
Well, if you were in the Bua family, you worked at every business that they owned and operated. So I started off working with my dad along his side, and he was the baker at our Italian bakery. And I just realized the apple didn't fall very far from the tree, and then I was kind of a natural at it. So that's where it all began.
And how old were you when you, first got into the kitchen?
Probably about 14.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And how many businesses did your family actually own?
Well, we owned grocery stores, and my dad was the butcher.
Wow.
So I got to be by his side then. I was a little younger and learned a lot about different meats and cuts. And we also owned beauty salons. So I got to watch how my mom and dad interacted with clients. And that kind of brought me to where I am today as well, being patient and understanding and offering great customer service. And then the Italian bakery.
Do you have any other siblings that are in the business besides yourself? Are they in like the business with the salons or?
You know what? They weren't crazy enough to stick with it.
Mm-hmm. Really?
They weren't. I really fell in love with the entrepreneurship and took it to where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
And they either found other careers and jobs, or the food industry just, I guess, wasn't for them. You have to have a thick skin, Veronica.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I understand.
Everything doesn't always work out.
Food industry, and you're talking about personal appearance in the salons. I mean, you're asking for a black eye all the time. I mean, people are, they take it really personal. They ask for, the haircut or extra tomatoes, and you give them what they ask for. And, sometimes that's, not a happy ending, but, I know you know how to turn those things around.
Right.
Being in business since 1990, I mean, that is just amazing, honestly.
You know what? You have to change with the times. And a lot of entrepreneurs are set in their way and they want to keep doing things the same way. And that's how it occurred that I took over Uncle Mike's Italian Bakery. I was willing to get into technology. I was willing to go that extra mile where my parents felt like they wanted to do things the same way over and over. But if you don't curve a little bit and be a little flexible, you're going to be left behind.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like because I was always willing to take a chance, I prevailed.
And so with that, how many employees did you have when you took over Uncle Mike's or when you first started at Bua's? How many employees did you have?
We probably had about 6 or 7, but I immediately to the Italian bakery added a catering division, and we had about 3 trucks on the road, and we ended up with about 16 employees.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
we had a commissary.
wow, that's pretty amazing. What
So the
side
fun
of
thing-
town was this on?
Say that again.
Where at was Uncle Mike's located?
Oh my God. The commissary was on the north side of town in a big building near Cross Timbers in 45.
Wow.
And then we had a retail storefront and a little cafe with espressos and calzones on beds that was in the museum
Wow.
district. And we were behind the scenes. This is where my experience really kicked in. We would do desserts for events like the Italian Festival or the Greek Festival.
Wow.
And we helped open up the George R. Brown, because in the beginning, the George R. Brown Convention Center opened up with different sections. The whole place wasn't just built to begin as a convention center. You know, they opened up a phase at a time. So we started getting a reputation that we could handle volume.
Wow.
So George R. Brown would call and need 1,000 mini pecan pies. And it was really neat and rewarding because we would be able to produce all of that. So it was really a fun time in Houston to be able to support big events like that.
And what was the most sought after dessert at Uncle Mike's?
Oh my God. Cannolis, cassata cakes, and Italian fig cookies called cucciolati,
Oh, wow.
made with fresh figs that you dry and make a filling and wrap it up in a dough. And I'm one of a dying generations that knows how to make all those things from scratch.
You are. You are. So let's talk a little bit about Bua's Bistro Market and Catering. Tell us about the services that you offer.
We are a full service turnkey catering and event planning company. And what that means is we can handle your event from beginning to end, everything from your tent to your rentals, to your food, to your entertainment. We're also willing to do one piece of it or one section of it if all you need at that time is our catering.
So just preparation wise, right? What does your ideal client look like? Do they know the colors? Do they know the venue? What does that look like for you?
Well, if they do have an idea, then it really does help kickstart it very smoothly, because then I can produce their vision. So the first question that I always ask when planning an event is, what did you have in mind, or how did you see your event taking place? And that kickstarts it.
Does that often change midstream?
Yes.
I shouldn't have asked that. That's kind of a
No.
trick question, but
It's funny because you have to have a budget and you have to know what it takes to put this together. So what I like to do is lay it all out, start at the top as if there were no budget, and we plan the event. And then we can tweak it and downsize it to
Mhm.
what their budget is.
Mhm. So what makes you different or special, from all of, the other big name caterers, all your competition out there?
I think a lot of it has to do with how my team and I come across. We really get to know our client. We're not just cookie cutter. It's not just a format that you answer the questions. We take the time to do site visits. We take the time to create samples. We really become a part of the event. And we're able to listen to the small details, maybe that Aunt Sue can't eat fish or Joni is gluten-free. And we really take it into our realm of being able to do what we do best, and we listen to our clients.
Mhm.
So I think a lot of it has to do with my entire team and our customizing patients.
Yeah, and the family owned, the experience, native Houstonian. I mean, you know this city inside and out.
And I love that, Veronica. I love that I've seen Houston grow to where we didn't have just one downtown, but we kind of have different central areas, the Woodlands, Transco Tower. It really is exciting to have been a part of that community.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about, first of all, one of your favorite non-HCC events that you hosted, I know, or catered. I know you mentioned some in the intro were HISD. I know this morning you were busy. Tell us about some of the work that you do outside of HCC.
Okay, we love dealing with individuals. I love that I've been in this business so long. I might have started out with a couple that got married, and then they have their first child, and then that child graduates, and then I do that child's wedding. And it's so nice that I have repeat business. I love celebrations of life because we come into this world and we leave this world, but they're very touching and very sentimental. I love anniversaries of companies that have made it and survived and they grow. We do a lot with oil and gas companies, banks, ribbon cuttings, A to Z.
I can tell, I can hear it in your voice. You just love it. I mean, I honestly believe at 14, yes, you were in the kitchen cooking. I can hear it in your voice. So I know that I have personally used your catering services and I enjoyed it. But aside from what you've done for me, which is provide Italian lunch, and you've provided salads and desserts and lasagna, what other things have you provided for HCC, and what campuses have you serviced? If you can tell us a little bit about your work for HCC.
Okay, I'm excited. One of your upcoming events is a casino day, and that's going to be for about 300 people. So we're going to do baked potato bars, hot dogs, and frito pie. That's going to be a lot of fun. We've done a lot of graduation parties where they maybe like things different, change it up a little bit, finger sandwiches, charcuterie boards. We've done lunch and learn meetings where we've done like a lot of party trays, drop-off box lunches. You guys have really run the gamut with all of our different cuisines. You like our Italian. You've enjoyed our Mexican. We've got a couple of French dishes. We've had fun working with y'all.
That's great. And you've probably been on board with us a year or so, year and a half, maybe.
You know what? The amazing thing, it's been 3 years, but when we started with you guys, we just started off with a bang, and we handled probably about a dozen events, and pandemic hit, so we got shut down real quick.
Well, you're up and you're going good now, and I love to hear that. And so, congratulations on the success. It's not always easy to break through, especially when we've come out of a pandemic. And I know a lot of us are still at home, so congratulations on that. So whenever you are catering these big meals for your special events, like what kind of preparation is needed as far as time? If we're looking at an event for 100 people, when do you actually start preparing the meals for the event?
You know what? No matter how small or large, you really do start off 2 or 3 days in advance. And honestly, then the event happens. And then you're kind of still closing out the event a couple days after that. But a good 2 or 3 days so that you can stage things that you need. You can chop and prep. And then there's always the hands-on day of where there's so many things we only do cooking the day of. Because we really do believe in fresh herbs, fresh ingredients, and we want the product to be flavorful. And that only happens on the day of, a few hours before you walk out there.
So I just have to know, how much of that work do you actually do, or do you have a hired chef? Because, I've talked to a few people and sometimes they do everything, or sometimes they just pass the recipe along.
Okay, let me tell you what, when you're working with Buas, you are flex and bowl.
I
And
love
you
it.
are full circle and cycle. So we have a lot of fun because one day one of the staff might be handling inventory. The
Mhm.
next day they might be talking to clients and getting a profile of the event, but we all get in the kitchen. We love being a team, and it really shows, and there's a glow about us because we really do support one another. I have to admit, I am the head chef, but we have a lot of hands in the kitchen helping. I could
Mhm.
not do it alone, nor do I want to. So when the tough get going, the going get tough, we turn on some Al Green, we do a little dancing, we laugh a lot and put a lot of love into producing our products.
What kind of experiences, would be required for someone watching the program, maybe interested in coming to work with you, or just in the
What
industry in general?
we really need, most of all, I like that they have a liking for food. You have to want to be around food. If you don't enjoy the aroma and, being in the kitchen, that part of it, you're not going to be a good fit with us. And believe it or not, I've had people that don't want to be around meat. And so you're not a good candidate. But good, strong work ethics are very important to us. And a culinary background is nice, but we're not going to hold you to that
Mhm.
because we can mold and shape you. So you
Mhm.
have to be a team player, and you have to, enjoy working hard. It's not an easy job.
So what do you use, any local ingredients or local suppliers?
Yes, and the fun part of that is I grew up with a lot of businesses that are still operating, and they're family owned. I used to go to farmers market and personally hand pick every orange, every tomato, and I would send pictures to friends on, Facebook, and they would laugh like, I want your job. I'd be skipping through farmers market. We still like dealing with local produce companies. I love a bakery called Royal Bakery. I have been going in there with my dad since I was 12 years old. Same recipe, Cuban breads, but they work. Jake's Finer Foods. Oh my God. I knew when I was a younger girl, the original owner. Now I'm working with his children and grandchildren.
Wow.
Yeah, so I do support local.
So getting back to a little bit about the events that you are able to put on for people, what type of entertainment do you offer? Are we talking stilt walkers or clowns or
Rolly the
bands?
Clown, Rolly the Pirate. We DJs, bands, photo booths. We really can find what you're looking for.
And do you do any type of virtual events?
During pandemic, we did a lot of virtual happy hours
Mm-hmm.
for companies that were trying to keep unity with their employees, but we're not doing as much of that right now.
Everybody seems to be back in person and back with a purpose and meeting together, huh?
You know what I think we learned through pandemic? We learned that yes, technology is great and it's strong, and that it can keep us together in a certain manner working,
Mm-hmm.
but we crave community and connection. And there is really something very vital about that in the office. And so I'm seeing a lot of corporate America make a strong effort to bring that back.
Mhm.
And it's on its way. We truly are busy almost 5 days a week.
And I know you mentioned COVID, so let me just ask you a few questions about COVID before you tell me what's next for your business. But during COVID, that was probably the restaurants industry's worst case scenario. Would you agree? Or
It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. And it was scary because I was worried that everything I'd worked 20 or 30 years for was going to go away. So you had to pivot. And I reached out to my community and partnered with so many people. And it was beautiful because different catering companies, we helped each other. If they had more vehicles than I had, but I had a larger kitchen, we could support one another. We took cautionary cooking, into consideration. You couldn't touch anything without a glove, not a surface, not a food item. We quickly individualized. There was no more parties with big buffets. All the events that were eventually able to take place, chairs were 10 feet apart. People didn't get close to each other. We just kept pivoting. I wasn't going to let go.
So do you still keep some of those protocols in place in your business, like the wrap utensils? We know obviously not sitting far apart, but are you still keeping some of those protocols in place, or maybe individually wrapped dessert? Or is it if the person wants it like that?
I would say it's 60-40. 40% are still requesting the individualized napkin, everything is sanitary. I always do, but they like the individual pieces and products and individual lunches. But 60% are going back to the regular catering.
So it sounds like you're able to provide both. Either way, whatever they want.
We're going to do whatever the customer.
So what do you like doing more? Do you like doing parties where they're passing around the hors d'oeuvres, or do you like the sit down formal, events? What gives you more pleasure? Of course, obviously there's different types of food served in each one. So which one do you like doing more?
I like festive and I like energy. And there's nothing more fun and exciting about watching a tray go by and, ooh, that's gorgeous. I want one of those. And so people just want to come over to you, and sample everything. And it's just elegant. And people interact, I think, better when it's a up and moving around party instead of a seated dinner. But once again, we're willing to do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I've actually had the opportunity to attend an event that you catered for the Houston West Chamber of Commerce. And I agree, when people are passing around the food, you are jumping around, chasing around the person. What's this? I want some of that. And you get to taste everything. So with that being said, as I mentioned, you are a part of the Houston Galleria West Chamber of Commerce. Tell me a little bit about that organization, or how organizations in general have helped your business, or if they're helping your business, or would you advise someone to become a member of a chamber or an industry specific group?
I love networking because it is a way to have a captive audience without going door to door. You have 20 people, 40 people, 60 people right there that you can captivate with a smile or a sample. And I love it because it's interaction and it's one-on-one, even though you're in a big group. People can kind of see how you operate and interact with others. So I love it. So the chamber, I love networking in action. That's a great one. And women driving is another division of women-owned businesses and professionals that is fun as well. It can be helpful.
And so how do you market your business outside of word of mouth? Are you using any social media platform?
We do. We love Facebook. We love Instagram. We're working on a YouTube channel where maybe I can cook a few recipes and help people cook their meals a little easier and give them just some great tips. So social media is doing it. It helps. It puts it out there.
Well, in closing, do you want to tell us, in about a minute about some of the new adventures that you have coming up?
Yes. Right now, we are in a ghost kitchen because during pandemic, we downsized immediately. We cut corners anywhere we could with our overhead. So we are looking at a surprise location that's going to be in the Galleria area that will allow our customers to come in and get things, eventually come in and sit down and eat with us. And we are very excited about some brunches in the forecast with some live music and possibly a couple of wine tasting dinners where I get to host as your chef a nice meal and connected with a delicious wine.
Nice. And so what month or how many months away from this taking place, or what month do you anticipate?
It's going to take place soon, within the next month, but we're going to open up with phases so that we do a great job for you. We don't want to just do it all at one time. So you're going to be able to come in and experience my veal cannelloni, my
Wow.
lasagna,
Yummy.
our canapes, and just our stromboli, a lot of my favorite dishes I grew up with that I am still cooking with love today.
Well, thank you, Michele, for being with us. Please tell our audience how they can reach you. What is your website or email, whichever you prefer?
They can email me personally, Michele@buasbistro.com. You can give us a call, 713-783-5169. You can look for us on Facebook. That ought to just about do it.
Well, thank you again, Michele, for being here. You're a successful business owner, so we appreciate that. I know I have enjoyed all of your meals and seasonings and things and everything you've done for HCC.
Thank you for helping me grow.
That's going to be it for this episode of It's Your Business. We look forward to seeing you next time. And if you're interested in having your business highlighted on our program, please give us a ring. Thank you.
Bye.